Yeah, yeah. All right, that's better. I'm not sure why it's lagging so much. Anyhow, Walmart Super here. What's up? Today we're going to be talking about Japan a little bit, my trip. I'm going to give you a real overview as I ate breakfast. So it's going to be a Tokyo trip brunch, something of that sort. So Japan, you probably want to bring with you maybe around like $3,000, not including the ticket. Buy your ticket, save $3,000 for the trip, and you'll be good to go. $1,000 is going to go for personal expenses. So if you want to buy the cologne, you want to buy the figures, you want to buy stuff like that, take $1,000 with you. $350 is going to go for the JR Pass. Buy it when you get there. If you want to buy ahead of time, it has to be at least 2 months ahead of time. But when you get there, the lines are going to be packed. But if you have time to kill before check-in at your hotel, just buy it over there. It's going to be easier, more convenient. They're willing to help you and give you advice on your JR Pass. So why not just get over there? So $1,000 for personal, $350 for the JR Pass, $80 for the Suica card. You want to use at least $80 to $90 for your Suica card. This money is for I think for the JR Pass, you can only use subways. And for the Suica card, it's for underground rails, trains. People confuse that a lot. I confused it myself. And my JR Pass did not work for certain lines. So I had to use my Suica card to get on most lines. So definitely get the JR and Suica class card both at the same time, preferably. Your limit on the Suica card is $100, but you can use the $80 if you have at the end of the trip. If you have money left over on the Suica card, you can usually just blast it at the airport, buying stickers or something. That's what I ended up doing. Because if you convert the money back to USD, you're going to be losing money, so you're better off just blasting the money, buying figures, stuff like that, and bringing it back. That's your best bet. 400 for food is pretty decent for two people. I ran out of money on my last day, so bring 500. $500 for food is going to cover for $10 to $15 a dish. Obviously, that's per person, so $30 a dish if you're a couple. That's for one meal. $20 a dish for another meal. That's going to be $40, $50 a day. So $500 should be just enough. Now I'm going to tell you about taking the plane as I sip on my coffee. When you get on your plane to Canada, this is for U.S. citizens only, since I can only vouch for U.S. citizens only. And I can only vouch for it coming out of Connecticut into Tokyo. So this is going to be based solely on my experience. So it's going to be an experience video almost, but it's also giving you tips, what I spent, what I didn't spend money on, what was expensive, what was not expensive, blah, blah. I went out to Canada. I flew it out from, I think it was Quebec, if I'm right. It was either Quebec, Montreal, or something else. It was one of the popular cities of Canada. So I had to drive to JFK Airport. I got a ride. It was 2 hours. Got there. Went on my terminal. You can usually expect maybe about like an hour, 30 minutes inside of the airport. You're going to expect that amount of wait time. So get coffee, get Dunkin', drink water. Water is not allowed in passing through customs or security, so please get your water at the airport as soon as you get by your security checks. My mistake, I got plenty of water, coffee thrown out from Japan, stuff that I wanted to bring back, but liquids weren't allowed. What ended up happening? So, buy water as soon as you get onto the plane, because it's going to be an hour and 30 minutes to Canada from JFK. So make sure you're bringing water on you. They give you drinks, but water is recommended. Drink water, stay hydrated. Now you're going to fly from Canada to Japan. It's a 12-hour flight. It's long. Your ankles are going to hurt. Your knees are going to hurt. It's going to suck. My advice to you is go on the plane with sandals. Do not wear hard shoes. Do not wear comfortable shoes at all. It's not going to be that comfortable wearing comfortable shoes. Trust me, it's not. Wear sandals. You can take off the sandals, be barefoot, and have room to squiggle around, stretch out your feet. That's probably one of the best things I can ever do on a 12-hour flight is being able to take off my sandals and squiggle my feet around to have enough room. Because you're going to be most probably watching movies, sleeping half of the trip, and then watching movies again. Most of the time on that flight, you're going to be served, not breakfast, but I think like a lunch and a dinner and a snack in between. They're pretty decent meals. They'll fill you up. The good thing that I liked about this trip when I arrived into Japan is that the meals filled me up, so I had no need for breakfast at all. I can literally get off the flight, get off the airport, get out, go to my hotel. You're usually gonna arrive around the afternoon time, but the jet lag is gonna make you sleepy. I even said to myself that I'm not gonna be tired, but I ended up being tired anyway. So I ended up going back to the hotel, checking in, grabbing a couple snacks in Japan, and going to bed the first day. Snacks in Japan are usually at your Lawson's, 7-Elevens, and there was this other store. I forgot the other one. 7-Elevens and Lawson's we use for this example. Your Lawson snacks for the small rice pod things, they're maybe about like this big, probably about like that thick. They're really, really good. They're really good food. So they have different flavors. They had steak, they had beef, they had fried chicken with mayo, they had fried rice, they had salmon, they had a bunch of different flavors. But I ended up going with the this chicken tempura. It was really, really good. I'd completely recommend it. For your first day, for breakfast, I'd recommend you, even though this sounds really cheap, but get breakfast at Lawson or at a 7-Eleven and just go off of that. Because those sushi roll things are fantastic and they cost $2. And your drinks are usually going to cost like $3 to $4 or something like that. And they'll fill you up. They'll get you a good, decent amount away. So go definitely stop at your 7-Elevens and Lawson's when you want a snack, for sure. Don't stop at anywhere and get chips or anything like that. Just go to your Lawson 7-Eleven. You're going to save money that way. In Japan, it's cultural for when they take your money to put it in plates. Some of them took it by hand because they knew I was a tourist, obviously. But they take it mostly in plates. So you put the money on the plate and they give you the money on the plate. Other places in Japan, they give it to it in machines. You put the money in machines face up. They take the money and then the machine shoots you back the change. Most of the places in Japan are tax-free. Most. Again, I'm going to give you a good example of places that are not tax-free. Your luxury items, your Christian Dior, your Gucci, your Givenchy, your Louis Vuitton. Those are not tax-free. You're going to pay taxes for those items and you have to go to the tax-free counter and claim your taxes to get that money back. Places that take taxes out are your luxury goods. Obviously, I don't think your trains, obviously, your train tolls, they obviously take taxes out for that. And your, I think, don't quote me, your JR pass, they get you for tax on those. And I think certain clothing items or certain amount that you spend, I think it was like $50 at certain stores. If you spend above that, it's tax-free. If it's below that, it's not tax-free. Now, tax-free goods that are tax-free, your shirts, your t-shirts, your pants, spending a certain amount of money at a Uniqlo, something like that, I think it's called, but it's common down in Japan. Those type of stores, if you spend a certain amount, it's tax-free. Tax-free at your Lawson's, your 7-Elevens, that's going to be tax-free because you're a tourist. But if you don't, excuse me for a second, if you don't look like a tourist, like for an example, if you're, I guess for lack of terms, you're Asian looking or something, they might not be able to identify you for being like, I guess, Japanese. I guess I saw this an issue with being in front of somebody online. And they'll tax you. And I think the lady ended up questioning them why she was taxed. And she ended up showing her passport, and then she had the tax taken off. She had to be rerung up again, etc. So make sure you have your passport handy to show them that you are a tourist. We walked around. We had food. It's common nature in Japan to not eat and walk, to not drink and walk. This video is gonna be pretty long, so stay comfy. I'm sorry. It's gonna be pretty long. It's common in Japan to not eat and walk. Nobody eats and walks in Japan. I saw some people, maybe 5 people out of my whole trip, drink a water and walk at the same time. But mostly everyone stops and eats. So when you grab your snacks at 7-Eleven, stop, sit down, eat, finish it, put the trash in your backpack because there's no trash cans in Japan. There's no trash cans anywhere. Bring a big backpack enough to stuff your trash in it. And then continue your journey. Trains in Japan. Trains in Japan, they're going to be, I'll give you a good example. JO, yellow, JB, green. These are obviously, what's the word for it? Examples. These are examples of it. There's not going to be exactly how it is, but these are examples. You're going to have your JR lines. You have your regular lines that go with JO yellow, JOB. We're going to use them for an example. That stop at Akihabara, Shinjuku. I think we said at Kinshiko, something like that. And Tokyo, Koto City, Fuji Q Highland, Fuji Q the mountain, Fuji Mountain, bunch of other stops. But their most common stops are going to be the yellow stops, the green stops, and the blue stops. So those are going to be your most common stops. You're stopping at Tokyo Station, Shinjuku Station, or Akihabara Station. If you're going to be at the Kinshiko Levant Tobu Hotel, you're probably going to be like 10 minutes away from Akihabara, which makes it super convenient if you're an anime lover, for sure. Akihabara, well, I'll give you a couple spots to recommend, and we'll go by that. So, I stayed in Shinjuku, not Shinjuku, and Kinshiko. Well, I'm probably saying it wrong, but and Akihabara is for fans of anime. Your Vocaloids, your Idols, your rare stuff, your NES, your Super Nintendo, your Yu-Gi-Oh, your Pokemon. You're going there for all that type of stuff. Clothing stuff is not going to be there. Your Louis Vuitton Gucci is not going to be there. Your jewelry, silver, gold is not going to be there. Just your usual Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, anime, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, hentai, all that other stuff is going to be there. Tokyo Station, you're going to find your tasty foods. You're going to find your luxurious items, your clothing stores, your Lush. You're going to find your soap stores, your home goods stuff, so like kitchenware, all that other stuff. It's going to be your usual fancier stuff you're going to be stopping at Tokyo Station for. Shinjuku, those are going to be like more like, I guess, your more small businesses. So like I saw like they had puppy cafes, cat cafes, bird cafes. I think, don't quote me, your Starbucks floral garden thing that just came out, it's going to be there. I think it's there. So your small stores are going to be there in Shinjuku. I'm trying to think. So if you're going to Fuji Q Highland, you're going to want to take I think we took the Shinkansen to Fuji Q. But there's the rapid train, the Shinkansen, all the way down to the side where Fuji Q is. We'll just put it that way. And then we had to stop at one station, which is Fuji Q Express, something like that. You have to stop there, buy another ticket, which was like probably like $9 or $8. It's gonna be your most expensive ticket ever, and the whole thing is your Shinkansen, which is the JR Pass is gonna cover, and the express that takes you to Fuji Q Highland. It is not a JR Pass. Again, let me repeat that. It's not a JR Pass. Your JR Pass will not work. It's not a JR line. You have to buy the ticket. So that's why you have the Suica card. You're gonna be using your Suica card to pay for that. Worst case scenario, they're always down to help you in Japan. Everyone's super, super helpful all the time, every time, no matter the daytime. 7 a.m., 9 o'clock at night, they're super helpful, even if it's busy, which is super surprising. Because in New York, you did that, they'll kick you to the curb and say, oh, good luck. No, they're super, super helpful. You get to Fuji Q Highland, your fee is probably going to be like $30 to $20 for the Fuji Q Highland. But again, if you have money left over in your Suica, just use your Suica card to pay for it. Some do not take the Suica card. Just for advance, they do not take Suica card in some places. So I would recommend carrying half cash, half Suica, half on your credit card, blah, blah, blah. I would carry at least for my personal expenses, $400 cash to $500 cash, and the rest in your cards. They do not take, from my experiences, Bank of America's ass in Japan. From my experiences, credit cards get locked up in Japan. So if you can put your money in the Suica, or you can put your money in your Cash App card. I realize Cash App works in Japan. Cash App works in Japan. I'm repeating it to make it clear. Cash App card works in Japan. So your Cash App, Suica, your savings bank from your town, your local town, is not going to work. It's just going to get locked up. Your Bank of America isn't going to work. I think some credit cards might work, so just keep an eye out on that. But I would carry mostly cash. Food. So food in Japan, you're gonna be ordering off of machines most of the time, and it's cash only. Like I said, no Suica. I think might be Suica card, but it's mostly gonna be cash. So there's machines that tell you the food with the translation in English, because some are not gonna understand you what the heck you're saying. So they're gonna expect to take it off of you from that machine. So for an example, I had ramen. For an example, the machine says ramen in Japanese and it says ramen in English, and this is 10,000 yen, for an example. I click on it, I go underneath and I check for matcha tea, say matcha tea in Japanese, matcha tea for 10 yen or something like that. Click that, put the cash in. I think you put the cash in first and then you select. And then it's going to give you 2 tickets, probably like the size like this, probably like that big. You give the ticket and you give it to the person that's cooking. They'll cook it up for you. They'll give it to you. And you just enjoy the food. And then once you're done, you're allowed to leave, obviously, because you already paid for the food in time, obviously, ahead of time. Japan, no tips. You do not tip the person that's giving you the food at all. So once you get your food, you stand up, you say goodbye, thank you, and you leave. You do not leave a tip. They will chase you. If you leave money left over, they'll chase you and give you the money back. What's more things I can say? If you're using the pachinko machines, they're more than willing to help you to understand the machines. I tried an Evangelion pachinko machine with probably like I think I used like $10 or something like that, and I won like $20 back, something like that. And this is a good example. I left the money there, played, and I realized I lost. I'm like, okay, I lost my ball, so I left. And then they ran after me outside, and they said, hey, here's your card, you won something. And I'm like, what, really? And they're like, yeah, here, come inside. And they literally guided me inside, bent the card, pushed it in. They did it for me, and I got my $40, something like that, back. So they're extremely helpful. Akihabara, you can probably expect it to be packed, so be ready for that. Now I'm going to go for stores. Stores, if you haven't made it far in this video, I've probably given you all the information you probably need. But if you guys need any advice in Japan, put it below. I can try the best to our knowledge, and if I don't know, I'll refer you to somebody. Your best spots for Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh stuff are going to be your card stores in Akihabara. There's probably like in the back roads. You have to kind of hit the back roads of Akihabara in the small corner streets to hit the card stores. But they have all the cards that you can think of. Anime cards, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Vanguard. Probably missing a lot of other Dragon Ball Z's, all those card games. They have those. And they're reasonably priced too. They're not too bad. If you're expecting to find rare stuff in Japan for a cheap price, you're not going to find rare stuff for a cheap price. My Evangelion 90s first edition Asuka figure that I saw over there, I didn't buy it obviously, was probably like $300. Obviously in the yen is probably in US it's worth less, but that's a rough estimate what you're looking at. I think I saw Pokemon cards that are extremely rare from the 90s going for like $290, $250. Chun-Li figures going for $300. You're not going to find your stuff for cheap unless you're collecting, let's say, a PS2. PS2s I saw over there, they were relatively cheap. They were maybe $60 to $50 for a clean. I'm talking about pristine condition PS2. And your fats are probably going to be like $50, $60. And again, in really, really good condition. Your GameCubes, your NES are going to be stupid expensive. The NES that I saw over there was $500. Boxed up, brand new. 500, 600. The GameCube that I saw was not brand new. It was just wrapped up in cellophane with the controller. I think it was like $150, $160. Your figures in Japan, they're going to be in good condition. For figure spots, I'm going to recommend you Traders. If you guys come across Traders Akihabara in Akihabara, Japan, your figures are going to be either used. Most of them are going to be used unopened. My 18 plus figure that I bought from Japan was unopened used. So that usually means like there's like a ding in the box, like probably somebody dropped it or something, but most of the pieces were in there. Your 18 plus figures are going to be $300 to $175. Your really, really good figures are in pristine condition. Really, really nice, probably like about this big. They're the super wide ones, like probably like maybe like twice the size of my head. Maybe about like this tall in my head. Those are probably going to be like $500 to $400. So they're not horrible, but you're definitely paying a cheaper premium going to Japan and just bringing it back. If you guys are going for an anime rampage figure rampage to just go to Japan just to buy figures and come back, I definitely recommend that you save your money and buy figures down there, because it's going to be worth your while. You're going to be buying figures for cheaper and bringing them back and collecting them. It's going to be 100% worth it, especially rare collectors stuff. Like I was looking for Serial Experiment Lane for the PS1 from the 90s and nobody had it at all in Japan, which means it's extremely rare. It's worth the price, whatever. And I couldn't find anything. I found an extremely, I guess, decently rare PS2 game for Evangelion Girlfriend of Steel. And that went for like $10. I was like, sweet. I picked up a Crash Bandicoot game while I was down there too. I'll probably cut the video at 25 so it's not too long. I'm just trying to mash up as much information as I can in this video to help you guys. For your first day, you probably don't want to be going crazy with the train situation. Just take it easy. Take one train at a time. Give yourself enough time to make mistakes with the train, because it's going to happen. You're going to make mistakes. Give yourself enough time. If you have to be at a specific spot at 12, maybe plan on going for 8 o'clock. Just in case if you have that hiccup, you get off at the wrong station and you have to hop on another train. The trains there are very timely. So there's usually a train that passes by every 5 minutes, which is pretty nice. Everybody takes the train in Japan. Nobody really drives, I guess, that much. I guess that's what makes the traffic in Japan very flowish, because it's usually not that packed at all, to be honest. It's not like New York where everyone's driving all the time. Roads are packed. There's a lot of traffic. No, everyone mostly takes the train to go to work, come back. Stores, they close early. They open early, they close early. No, they open later and they close early. So you're going to expect your store that you want to go to in Akihabara to open at 8 or 9 o'clock. So it's going to be like 8 to 8 or 8 to 7. It's not 6 o'clock in the morning like in the US till like 9 o'clock at night. No, they have very short schedules, which is nice for them because they get time off and stuff like that to rest and go in. They have like I'm not going to go with that. I'm not going to ramble about that, but 8 to 8, keep that in mind when you're doing anything, 8 to 8 or 8 to 7. This is in Akihabara. They close at those times. So if you plan on buying anime figures, plan to get showing up as first as they open, 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night. Give yourself time to look all around for special figures that you're looking for. And don't mind buying used stuff too. I bought a couple used Evangelion 90s Asuka figure, 90s Rei figure. And they were in really, really good condition. Like, they weren't abused, they weren't scratched up. They usually keep their stuff very well kept. Let me see what else I can say. If you're looking for like car things to do, Tokyo and Akihabara are probably not going to be your spots unless you go at night. Akihabara at night, the cars definitely come out, but they're going to be your anime themed stuff. So like your Miku, your Rin and Len, your Vocaloid cars are mostly going to come out. If you want to look for cars to look at, you probably want to go to Osaka. Those other Kyoto, stuff like that, like more back roadish Japan, because I didn't see any in main city of Tokyo at all from the times that I was out. What else? Everything's relatively cheap for the most part. Like I said, your breakfast, your lunch are probably gonna be like $15 to like $10. If you eat at a gas station, a meal for two is probably gonna be like $15. Again, for gas station food, you guys both get sushi rolls, 2 each, and your coffee and matcha for 2. It's probably gonna be like $15 for 2 people. That's what I was recommending you for the first time. Since you're going out the whole time, you probably don't want to travel too far to get breakfast. Stop at a Lawson or a 7-Eleven and get breakfast there. You won't regret it. The food's really good, especially on the cheaper side. I had a really, really good time while I was in Japan. I don't regret anything. The trip was definitely worthwhile. If you're debating on going to Japan, just take the trip. It's definitely worth it for the $3,000 that I paid, not including the ticket. I had a really, really good time. It was really, really fun. I would not take it back for anything else in life. That was really, really fun. It's definitely recommended for people who are looking for anime stuff, collector's items, Japan collector's items. If you're looking for, I guess, a different environment, the very safe environment starter starter travel, Japan is probably going to be your best starter because everyone's so helpful. It's not like other countries where they don't help you at all. No, everyone's super helpful. Nobody really judges you really. And it's very safe. So it's a very first vacation friendly spot. I really think so. Even though it's expensive, I recommend it as a first spot to go to when you're traveling. Let me see if I'm missing any key points. Definitely stop at a maid cafe. I stopped at a maid cafe and it was extremely fun. You could probably expect maybe $80 at a maid cafe. Probably like 30 minutes there with them. And you're gonna be having dessert. You're gonna be having coffee. They're gonna talk to you. You get photos with them. It's extremely fun. So definitely stop at a maid cafe. Even if you're a little bit shy. I was a little bit shy showing up, to be quite honest, because I'm not used to it. But it's definitely worthwhile and a good time. What else can I say? I had a really good time. It was really good. The food is really awesome and fantastic, and the people were just super, super nice and sweet. And Fuji Q Highland, you can expect it to be decently packed. There's a Naruto spot there for eating, but it was packed. Really good spots in Japan. You can probably go to Fuji Q Highland. Team Labs schedule beforehand. Schedule Team Labs beforehand because they always get booked, and I missed out on my opportunity to go. Schedule out for Little Worlds Japan and Koto City. That's definitely a must. You have to go to that. That one's really sweet. They have a small Gundam world. They have small Evangelion world, and I think they have a small Godzilla world. I think something like that. And I think that's like $30, something like that. What else? Another good stop you can probably stop at is the maid cafes. Those are definitely going to be your must to stop at. Traders, stop at Traders in Akihabara, please. You're going to find a lot of figures in Akihabara, trust me. A lot of 18 plus figures. And a lot of hentai content stuff. And I guess I'll put this in here at the end of the video if you've watched this video far enough, is your hentai stuff. Your 18 plus stuff showing booty, cheeks, titties, and stuff like that. My best advice to you guys, if you're gonna bring that stuff in, make sure that any images of the 18 content stuff that's on the box, make sure you rip it out. I think they take them off, and the outside box doesn't look like it's nothing. Keep that in your luggage, and if you have any magazines that are 18 plus, make sure that the cover doesn't have a lot going on, because customs are going to look at it and then they're going to start questioning you. So my advice to you is just keep it in your luggage. They'll just ship out the luggage. In worst case scenario, you just won't find it in your luggage. But from my experiences, I brought an H magazine back and I bought an H figure back, and they were completely fine, just as long as they didn't have any images of the pornography, I guess you would call it, and stuff like that. Because some people that I know that I watch my channel or who are going to look at this are probably going to end up buying this stuff because it's Japan. Why wouldn't you? Disgusting fuck. What else? So food down there is a big thing. So like if you're going to Kyoto, I guess there's a lot of food spots. I didn't end up going to Kyoto because they had a bunch of food spots, and I was looking mainly for like anime stuff, necklaces and stuff like that. So I didn't feel like going to Kyoto, even though it was on my plans to stop. I just decided not to go. Let me think of what else I did. Your change in Japan's are gonna be your. They're gonna be your hundreds, the 100 yen, the 10 yen. These are in coins. The 100 yen's a coin. The 10 yen's a coin. Your 1 yen is gonna be a coin. Your $10 bills, again USD to yen. Your $5 bills, your $100 bills are going to be in bills. Your $1 are going to be in coins, and that's what they mostly use for the arcades in Akihabara. So definitely stop at the arcades in Akihabara for sure. At night they glow up and they're extremely fun to do. And if you watch the video this far still, which I'm extremely surprised, usually people don't stay this long. In Japan, not like the United States where in Japan they'll open the machine and they'll rearrange the plush for you, and they'll rearrange the They even replace the prize for you too. If you don't want to win that one and you see something over there that's hanging that you want, you can switch them out, like with the plushes or the boxed anime figures. You can move them, and they're willing to give you pointers too, which I was surprised. I was like, the heck? Here, you tell them you want that prize instead of this prize. They tell you fuck off and find another machine. No, over there they actually give you, they actually swap the item for you, which is kind of sweet. And I guess my advice to you throughout this whole thing is, at the end of your trip, if you have money left over, converting it back to USD is not worth it. You're already getting more worth from your USD to yen by 30 cents by the dollar. And if you calculate $1,000 plus 30 cents by every dollar, you're going to realize it's probably going to be like $300. So you're better off just spending that money there, putting it in your luggage, bringing cool coins back that you want to hold on to from Japan, and turning it into a necklace or something. But don't convert it back to USD. It's not worth it. You're better off just spending the money in Japan on whatever you wanted and coming back. That's what I ended up doing. I ended up blasting the money on stickers, blasting the money on stickers, figures, and food. I think I spent that at like McDonald's on a rampage of food. And I think I blasted most of it in the arcade too. And I got myself some cool plushies while I was at it too. Luggages, make sure you get something with wheels. Something that is easy to roll around, because you're going to be on the trains a lot. Taxis are going to be not have a lot of room. So you want to make sure that you have the limit for your luggage is probably going to be your best bet for the taxis around town. So yeah, I'll probably make a more condensed video, but this is just kind of me rambling about my Japan trip and giving you a little bit of ideas about what to experience throughout the whole trip. Hot boy hours in Japan on the trains are going to be your 8 o'clock in the morning to like 8 o'clock at night. If you can go on the train for 11 to 10-ish is going to be your best bet. Or if you can go on the train for 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock-ish and just arrive at your stop early, that's even better. And just be positive. People there are very happy. They're very positive. It doesn't feel like New York City where everything feels scrambled and you feel the stress of the environment. Everyone's usually very calm. The city's very quiet, so don't be loud. Don't be loud on the trains and stuff like that. I'll probably be making a more condensed video of this, but this is my vlog for my whole Japan trip. I had a really good time. Spent a lot of money. Got a lot of figures. Got a bunch of rare stuff too. And that's it. Love you guys. Walmart Super out. Peace.